Hello everyone and welcome back. We have some pretty big changes to go over in regards to ships so far with 4.2. There probably will be some additional changes, but in today's video I thought we would go over all of the ship log changes from the last build and the newest PTU build, because there's a lot of really interesting things to go ahead and take a look at that you probably will want to be aware of as we go into 4.2 going live probably in the next couple of weeks here. So let's go ahead and let's talk about it. And right before we talk about it, I will mention again the winner of our giveaway. I have not heard from you yet. Psycho Dude, CYCO-DUDE. You left a comment on that video that we were doing the giveaway on, and you were selected as the winner. So all you need to do to claim that is reach out to me on Discord, and we can verify that you are who you say you are, and then get you your Grey Cat MTC. So if you see this video, make sure to reach out to me on Discord as soon as you can. If I don't hear from you in probably the next day or two, we'll draw another winner, and we'll see who else will get the Grey Cat MTC. Alrighty, so let's go ahead and let's get into the changes. So first we're going to go over some of the changes that were included in the first Wave 1 PTU build. First we have across the Gladius, both the Gladius and Gladius Valiant had their pitch increased from 70 to 75. That's not with any flight blades or anything included, that's just across the board. Gladius has gotten a little bit of a maneuverability buff, so if you're a Gladius pilot, you should be aware of that. That's plus 7%. That's a pretty significant amount that you'll be able to pitch faster. So, just a nice little change there. And then we do have for the Idris M and P, so we have some modifiers added. This is in regards to helping the capacity for the ammo be, more what it should be. They have increased that multiplier from 1 to 6 on both of them. So that's, I think, the highest multiplier on any of the ships. But there is another thing that says the power ratio multiplier has gone from 2.7 to 1. That's minus 63%. I'm not 100% sure what that means yet, but at least from what we can tell on this, you should get a significant amount more shots on your turrets, possibly more laser capacity on the Idris K laser because of this ammo multiplier change. And then we have some additional ammo multiplier changes for both the Anvil, Asgard, and the Valkyrie. So for the Asgard, it's going from a 3 to 5 ammo load multiplier for plus 67%. So you'll, of course, get more shots on the pilot guns, on your turret gun. And then the Valkyrie has gotten a slight increase from 3 to 3.5 on that ammo multiplier for plus 17%. So just a little bit more turret capacity on both of those ships. I wouldn't be surprised if we see some additional changes for some of the other medium to large ships as well. So good to see that adjustment. Next, we have some flight adjustments for both the Starlancer Max and the Starlancer TAC. So first for the Max, the SCM speed has been increased from 135 to 160. That is plus 19%, a really nice increase to see there. They've also increased the boost forward from 315 to 325 and the boost backwards from 140 to 165. And it has also received a ammo multiplier that's gone from 3 to 4, so plus 33% on that. So all good changes there for the Starlancer Max. And then for the Starlancer TAC, it has also gotten a bit of an increase, gone from 110 to 150 SCM speed. Its max speed has gone from 915 to 960. Boost from 305 to 315. Boost backwards from 140 to 155. Its fuel capacity has been decreased by 2 million, so about 2 SCU, and the quantum capacity has also been increased by decreased by a very slight amount. So some minor fuel decreases there. And then it has gotten another ammo multiplier adjustment from 3 to 4.25, so you should get even more shots on your turrets, the big size 5 side turrets, and all those sorts of things. Next, we have an adjustment to a ground vehicle. This is for the Anvil Centurion. That's the Anvil Atlas platform that has a big quad size 4 turret on the back. It's meant to be an area denial anti-air vehicle. It has had its a ammo multiplier added to it, which it did not have previously. It has a 6 times multiplier, so should get I would say 300-400 shots off of that. I think, of course, there are still some more adjustments to be made to make that a more viable vehicle, but you will have quite a bit of ammo to work with if you happen to be using one of those. And then a few other things from this build. So for the Hammerfall torpedo launcher, that is the size 12 torpedo launcher for the Idris. It has had its health increased from 200, yes, very little, to 35,000. That's plus 17,000%. But I will say, compared to, say, the Railgun or the Idris K laser, those each have about 750,000 health each. This is still laughably low, so I would really prefer if this got a significant boost up to maybe 400, 500k health, something around there. That would probably be good, because I still think 35k you can take that out in one railgun shot, so it's still quite vulnerable. Maybe not to really small arms fire now, but again to those larger shots, it's not going to take a whole lot of effort to just totally take out the torpedo launcher and make it so that you can't even fire those. And then we also have some turret changes. Now, I believe these are all for the Idris turrets, because when the Idris first came to backers, I think I had mentioned in a video somewhere that it felt the turrets felt a little bit too slow in their rotation. So there have been some adjustments made. Now, some of them I believe are for the large turret that's on the front of the ship. So if you're on an Idris M, that's going to be dual size 7. On the Idris P, it's by default dual size 5s. There's some other missile turrets or a ballistic turret you can put on there if you have the K kit or the T kit. So for that turret, it has had its speed increased by yaw. It'll be from 35 to 38. There is some acceleration with that as well. And then for pitch, it's gone from 35 to 42. And of course, more acceleration parameters there as well. So a little bit of a speed increase on the large turret on the front there. But what is more significant is some of the increases to some of the, I believe these are going to be the dual size 5 turrets that are kind of dotted around several places on the ship. These turrets have had their speed increased in the yaw axis from 35 to 60, which is a very significant increase, and also in pitch from 35 to 60. So those should be able to rotate a lot faster. That should help them keep up with fighters or other small to medium ships. They still need, all the Idris turrets still need gimbals added to them, and I have not seen that anywhere yet that's happened, so hopefully that gets added pretty soon here. But for now, that will definitely help pretty significantly with the faster rotation speed on all of those turrets. And then there are actually a couple of adjustments to the Starlancer tack side turrets. So those are the dual size 5s. They have actually had their speed decreased. So on the yaw, it's gone from 95 to 55, and same for pitch, 95 to 55. They've had some acceleration added as well. So there's a kind of time to speed up and slow down. So those should be a decent amount slower to turn. It makes sense because they're the really big guns on there. I still kind of would prefer it. Maybe if they switch those size 5s to the top turrets, the top remote turrets, and maybe put size 4s on those side turrets, just so the firepower could be a little bit more useful for more applications. But, you know, it probably will stick with how it is. But there is that speed adjustment for those turrets. And then last couple things from this build are under personal weapons, so your FPS weapons. So there was some changes for the P8 AR. It was actually nerfed in its damage. It's gone from 51 physical damage to 45. So a little bit of a nerf there. Again, the P8 is a pretty strong gun. Like most NPCs, you can two-shot them. Like the ones with no armor, they're one-shot. So I understand bringing it down a little bit. It's not a crazy nerf, so we'll have to see how it performs. We also can see the addition of the Prism laser shotgun. And for the Quartz Energy SMG, we actually have a slight decrease in its damage from 205 to 185. But I think this thing is still, it just melts everything within 10 to 15 meters of it. So I don't even know if you'll really notice that. You'll still kill people in less than like a second. So still really good there. But that is all the changes from the first Wave 1 PTU build. So then let's go ahead and let's take a look at some other changes that are really quite interesting from the most recent PTU build. All right, so we'll start with some adjustments that have been made to the Asperia Prowler. So for its vital parts, the nose, I believe, is the only vital part on the Prowler. Its HP has been increased from 8,500 to 11,500, so about 3,000 extra HP there. But the main body HP has gone down from 40k to 20k, so 50% loss there. And there's a couple other miscellaneous parts that have gained like 1,000, 1,500 HP, some other random things. And then some very slight adjustments to its flight characteristics. SCM speed's gone from 205 to 210, and max speed has gone from 1150 to 1170, and its boost speed forward has gone from 420 to 445. So just some minor adjustments on the flight for the Prowler, some other hit point adjustments. I don't really know why that's happening, but it's there, so I just thought I'd make you aware of it. And then under ground vehicles, it mentions that there's a bunch of ones that have a remote turret on them. It mentions their component mass is all increased slightly. The reasoning for this is in the patch notes from today's build, they said that all the remote turrets on ground vehicles have had gimbals added to them, so that those gimbals take up just a little bit more mass. But the big thing here is those turrets have gimbals, which will make them, again, a lot easier to look around, shoot things, all those sorts of, that be more accurate. So really, really good to see that. I haven't had a chance to test it out yet, but definitely will probably get to it at some point throughout the PTU cycle, seeing how those feel now, and if that maybe makes these a little bit more viable to use in certain situations. All right, so the next we have, so this is from the patch notes in today's build. There was a section that said updated all engineering components health scaling with increases and decreases across components. So a lot of components had increases or decreases to their health. Some other components like shields, it says that they swapped the regen and slapdown balance for shield generators. We'll talk about that in a minute, but there's been some further adjustments and fine tuning for shield generators. Some have seemingly gotten worse, and it's kind of odd. I don't know. We'll go over it a little bit more in a few minutes, but I'll just like throw up a couple random ones. Like there's some different components that have had their health decreased, like the Avalanche. I believe that's a size 2 military grade A cooler. It's lost 12% of its component health. But if we look at something like a Blizzard, which is a military size 3 grade A cooler, its health has increased by 18% from 1,700 to 2,000. So across the board, mostly it seems like the size 1 and size 2 components have lost some of their health, but pretty much all the size 3 components that I have seen have had their health increased. And even for things like the Idris, it's had its health increased across several components. Even the Javelin and the Bengal are technically mentioned in these changes. I don't think that means we're getting the Javelin or the Bengal anytime soon that we can get in game or anything, but there's just some, general adjustments being made to that. But yeah, so really interesting how why they're deciding to adjust this now. I have to assume maybe it has something to do with, again, probably getting some stuff prepped for engineering going into a tech preview, probably sometime in the next month or two, and then preparing for that to probably come to the game maybe in August or September, or somewhere around there. So just making some adjustments now, maybe seeing how they play out in the current game, and then potentially we'll see some further adjustments down the line. So we'll just have to see. So then let's take a look at a couple of the shields. So I noticed that on some of the military, and I believe some of the stealth shields as well, from what I've seen, potentially some industrial ones too, there have been some further adjustments to their regen rate, and then the down delay and damage delay, and the health of the components as well. So for example, here we can see on the all stop, which I believe that is a military grade either C or B size 1 shield. So we've had the regen rate cut down from 165 to 100, but the down delay has gone from 11.5 seconds to 7, so that's if the shield goes completely down. That's how long it takes before it starts to recharge again. And the damage delay has gone from 5.75 to 3.5, so again, shorter delay. Part of me is kind of confused by this, because just like in 4.1.1, the patch that just came out a couple weeks ago, they made a big deal of rebalancing the shield generators for the military shields to have a much higher regen rate. That would make them more viable in combat, and now they just seem to be kind of undoing a lot of that. So I don't know, kind of confusing. Again, they are decreasing the damage delay, so how soon it is before those will start to charge again, which is something that didn't happen in 4.1.1. So I don't know, I'm a little confused, but there is that. Again, some of the health has been adjusted on these components as well. Again, it seems like it's mostly the size 1 and 2s have lost some health, but the size 3s have gained some health as well. Let's take a look at a couple other shields. So here, for example, we can look at the FR76. That's our grade A military size 2 shield. So our regen rate has dropped from 530 to 323. Now that is still more than it was previously, if I remember correctly. So they still have some increase in that regen rate before 4.1.1. And you can see here there's the further reductions in the down delay and that damage delay, a little bit of a loss in health. But if we then compare it to the FR86, which is our size 3 grade A military shield gen, we again see some drops in that regen rate and all those sorts of things, but the health has gone up from 2,000 to 2,400, so it has increased there. Again, that seems to be the trend across these different changes. So really fascinating. I'm not entirely sure what the goal is that they're trying to get with these different changes. I guess it rewards you for getting out of fire for a couple of seconds. You might not you won't regen your shields as quickly, but you'll be able to start regenerating them faster. So I don't know. We'll have to see if it really makes any noticeable difference once we get more testing done with it. So now something that's interesting. I'm looking at the Mirage, which is a size 1 stealth grade A shield. So it has actually had its regen rate increased by 64% from 78.5 to 129. Now previously, the regen rate on these was really, really slow, but their down delay and damage delay was really low as well, so they would start to recharge quite quickly. But now they have increased the regen rate, but also simultaneously increase that down delay and damage delay, which is quite odd. That also seems like they're kind of just undoing what they had already done. So I'm, again, not entirely sure what their goal is with this, but those are some other interesting changes on another class of the components. So those have seen an increase in all of those stats rather than the decrease that seemingly all the military ones have had. And then that's pretty much all the major component changes. The last thing we'll go over for this build is there was some adjustments to the R97 shotgun. The damage for it was increased slightly, but they did decrease the amount of pellets per shot that come out they decreased it from 12 to 8. So I think overall that technically means it'll do less damage. And then there's a couple other little adjustments for it, like the spread, all those sorts of little things. So just some minor adjustments on that. I don't really use shotguns all that much, so I'm not entirely sure how much this will affect it. I don't think a lot of people use them because typically they aren't super good. Like it's usually more worth it to use like a Cardinal rifle or a P8 or something like that. So we'll have to see if maybe I don't know, maybe this will change something. But that's all the major changes that we have so far for 4.2 in regards to ships and vehicles and all those sorts of things. Again, I am sure we will continue to get more adjustments, more bug fixes for certain things. More, hopefully, again, the gimbals getting added to the Idris would be nice. Maybe some other ships that don't have those, maybe those will get put on. And I'm sure we'll see some more adjustments to flight characteristics and whatnot. So when we get more of that news, I'll make sure to let you all know about that, about the most important things. And I'd love to hear your thoughts on any of these changes down in the comments. Do you think there's any further adjustments that should be made? Anything that you think is a little bit too much or too little? Love to hear any of your thoughts on it. But that's going to do it for this one, going over all of these changes. I'm really hoping to get some more videos out for you on more stuff in the PTU. I was playing a little bit earlier, trying to figure out more of the process for going through this new event and things. I've kind of got part of it figured out, but I think there's more to do. So hopefully once I can get that more figured out, I'll be able to let you all know how that kind of goes. I think we're still missing some stuff that we don't even have in the game yet. I think they haven't put it in on purpose, but I'm sure we will get that pretty soon and we can check it out. So if you want to see more of those videos, feel free to subscribe to the channel for news, the PTU stuff, updates, chip reviews, all those sorts of things. And if you enjoyed it, feel free to leave a like, as it really helps the channel as well. And I thank you all for watching so much. You are all amazing. And until next time, I will see you in the verse.